Hello, welcome back to Jacob's Books Corner, where we're starting a reading vlog. So we're going to be starting the Bane Chronicles. I want to mention that this is a spoiler reading vlog. All I know is that this chronicles Magnus Bane's life from the time he gets turned into a warlock in the 1800s to some present-day storylines and stuff. And I'm basing these off of the chapters. This is supposed to be a collection of novellas, and so I'm assuming every story is self-contained. I could be wrong in thinking this, but it's a very strong possibility. There are, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different stories, and I'm going to be reviewing each story as their own, and I figured the easiest way to do this is to do a reading vlog. So yeah, the first one's called What Really Happened in Peru, and this is by Cassandra Clare and Sarah Ruiz Baren. And they do have images, like a Magna style images to start off. I'll update you as I continue to read along, and yep. Okay, my first update for the Bane Chronicle is over why did he get banned from Peru. I like the narrator for this one. Every story has a new narrator, which is new. And this one is following 3 different events that take place in Peru. Magnus's first time in Peru, where they go through a jungle and stuff, and he takes some things, and it's just kind of like a wild ride as he is a child, new to life, and things like that. The second one, which I found the most interesting, was with a boy, as Magnus is trying to learn a type of culture song type of thing, and they throw a whole parade because he stops or whatever. But we learn about his parents, his biological parents. His parents are, his mom has sex with a warlock. Magnus is born normal. He is not born with blue skin or green skin or something to make him seem much more warlocky. He's very born normal up until the point of where he shows his green cat eyes, which are signature Magnus. And he is obviously vanished from his house and that type of thing. I found that stuff to be the most interesting part of the story. The third story follows Magnus on another journey into Peru, where he is just still trying to figure out some stuff. He does not get banned for it, and we never actually get the answer for him getting banned. So it was okay. I did like the narrator. I've heard the narrator before. I've enjoyed it. He was quite gay in this one, which was very interesting, very Magnus-like, but he was running around with both boys and girls throughout. So that's my review of the first one. I would probably give it like a 3 out of 5 stars. Alright, hi guys. Welcome to the Bane Chronicles. I don't know what part this is, but let's talk about it. So I read stories, stories 3 through 6 today. So I read Vampires, Scones, and Edmund Herondale, The Midnight Hare, The Rise of the Hotel Drama, and Saving Raphael Santiago. And I have ratings for all of them, so let's go through them. I'm also going to give story details, if I think they're necessary. So Vampires, Scones, and Edmund Herondale was a fascinating read. Now, I have to say, actually, you know what? I think I finished The Runaway Queen. I don't know if, I started at The Runaway Queen, never mind. I think The Runaway Queen, I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. I can't actually really remember. I think this is his first experience with, oh no, this is Mira Antoinette. This is, Mira Antoinette. That's who this is. Because he goes, she gets captured. Yep, that's what it is. So, the problem with this one, I really liked the chemistry between him and Axel. I thought that relationship overall. It also showed his first heartbreak in a true form, which was also very interesting. It's his first time falling with a mortal. We're going to talk about Magnus as a character. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the audiobook at the end of all these, at the end of this, very long clip. But, besides the point, because I do have some gripes to pay. Either way, I didn't really like how Magnus was truly portrayed here. I think this was still Magnus, and I have to remember this is young Magnus, and his hidden, but there's certain things that he does, I don't know, I just didn't really believe it was him, and so, also the writing here, if I remember very distinctly, was quite poor, which is interesting, because Cassandra Clare, I think, helped co-write all of these, but I think this was a Sharon Rees bane, Also, there's a line about Miriam went with to eat cake, which just took me out of the story just because how inaccurate it is and how accurate most of the other stories we're going to talk about here are. So it was a 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't great, but it wasn't great. Don't worry. We are going to pick up. It's going to happen, but it's going to take a minute for it to get good. So Vampire Snows and Edmund Herondale was the first one to truly pique my interest. The politics between the vampires and stuff, I don't really care too much about, just because I know where they end up, and so I don't find it as fascinating. Edmund Herondale, though, was a very fascinating gentleman, I tell you, because just like his son-to-be, or his grandson, I think it's his grandson-to-be, yeah, I want to say it's grandson-to-be, Magnus ends up really falling for him and finding him quite charming. A big problem I have throughout all these stories, and I get it, there are different periods of time, there's always that one person that's so much more stunning than everything else. It's just so cliched, and it wouldn't have been fine if we're reading, like, a whole novel worth of, like if it's, like, a full-length novel. And all these stories do go, like, it's the Bane Chronicles for a reason, because you follow him from young Magnus to, like, really mature to the Magnus that we know and love inside, both, TID and TMI. In both those, we get to meet that Magnus, and we get to see his evolution. But the stories are so different because Cassandra Clare doesn't have that flair. And I don't know. There's something about it. And so that was one of the things that did take me out. One of my comments I put on Goodreads, I do recommend you go follow me on Goodreads, especially if you want to know my updates as I read them at work, was the fact of scones. There was a lot of scone talking, and I found it quite funny. I didn't remember the title. Now it makes it even more funny. Also, it makes sense. But Edmund Herondale was definitely the standout point and the bitter. And then also, I do like the fact that he lost his markings for love. Once again, this is another showing of Magnus and him saying he's never going to fall another Herondale, which he would once again never do. So then we have the Midnight Hare, which, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, no, this is right. This is the one that is set after the events of Clockwork Princess, but before the events of the epilogue for Clockwork Princess. With all the politics that happen inside Clockwork Princess. So, huge spoilers for Clockwork Princess. I'm going to say some of those spoilers right here. I don't know what to tell you. Just skip ahead, I guess. When I say, when we start talking about the rise of Hotel Durmont, we can talk again, okay? So basically, this takes place with Tessa and Will and their son, oh my god. I want to say it's Jeremiah, but I know that's wrong. I can't even think of his name. It's because I'm thinking Zachariah. It's Jem. I can't think of what Jem actually stands for in the series, but either way. And their son, and we meet their son in a bar. He shoots somebody, and then we take him home or whatever, and he's, like, very sad. And then we get to see more interesting things with Will and Tessa, which I always find fascinating. And then we get to figure out kind of what's making him sad, and that's the fact that he fell in love with, the sister of, it's like Victoria, I want to say is her name. She is a Lightwood. This is when the Lightwoods were banned from all of shadow hunting. And she wants to kill all shadow hunters because she never truly believes she was a shadow hunter. And the person that he is in love with also is a part of that. And yeah, I found it to be very fascinating. This was a 4 out of 5 stars. Actually, no, if I'm not mistaken, this was a 5 out of 5 stars. It's the only one in the book so far to get one. And then we have the Rise of the Hotel Durmont, which the Rise of the Hotel Durmont was probably one of my least favorite ones. It was fine. I understand why it's here. This one is another one. This is about speakeasies. This takes place in the Prohibition time. And then at the very end, his vampire lover shows up. I can't think of her name. Let me go to... Yeah, Camilla shows up. His speakeasy gets ruined. He meets a friend who ends up... I guess there's a few important things here. One, the hotel, which it does play a huge part into his life and stuff, and Camilla in general. But also he changes the memories of someone, which is going to become important later on with Clary, but ultimately I didn't find it very fascinating, so I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. And then Saving Raphael Santiago, I was very excited for this story, but Raphael is an adorable character. I enjoyed him the whole time. Amazing character. And so, I want to say that first. The only problem here is that Magnus, throughout this whole collection, has been really the center of the story. This is the first one where Magnus has taken a step back to tell a different story, which was a fascinating story. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because it wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it did not deliver, if that makes any sense. Like, it was fine, but it wasn't like, oh my god, that's amazing, I can't wait. Like, yeah. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I do know these were, like, placed as novellas and then, you know, made into a bind-up. All these things I'm reading are placed into novellas and made into a bind-up. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys, okay? Either way, that's my updates for you. Basically, the narrator for some of these, absolutely atrocious. The audiobook is a questionable thing. I think they should have chosen one narrator, or maybe 2 narrators. One for when he's younger, and then one for when he's older. There's a few people in here I would actually really prefer them to be the center narrators. For narrator number 7, it's atrocious. It's one of the worst narrators I've ever, like, heard. Like, for, like, any of these books. And there's been a few in here that have been questionable best. And so I decided to stop listening to it. And so we're going to read number 7 tonight. In between reading my graphic novels and stuff before I go to bed. Hi guys, I'm going to update you guys on the Bane Chronicles. I read a few more stories today. Not many, but I read a few. So it actually turned out I was just not in the mood to read last night, like physically read, even though I'm very, very excited to start. Doesn't matter. That's so great. Even though Alec doesn't show up until like story 9, but we'll get there. So I read The Fall of the Hotel de Mont, which is simply a story about drug addiction and what that can do to a human, let alone like a vampire. And I gave it a 1. I want to say probably a 2. We'll give it a 2. I have 5 stars. It was not like not readable, but like I just don't care about Camilla. And that's really what the heart of this is. So I didn't care. And then we have my favorite story. So obviously Edmund is great and I definitely recommend. And then also The Midnight Hare, like those 2 stories were pretty great. I enjoyed them. But What to Buy Shadowhunter Has Everything and Who You're Not Officially Dating Anyway, which is on 347, story number 7, and it was 5 out of 5 stars. And so I'm gonna explain it a little more. Like there really isn't anything to talk about for The Fall of the Hotel de Mont. It turns into what we see later on in the novels, and it makes sense or whatever. But this is when Alec so this is probably City of Ash, I want to say. Was it City of Ash? I want to say it's like City of Ash. They're first getting together, and they've only been on a few dates. But, like, Magnus has fallen head over heels. And he has to bring up this demon who I just love. And now I'm kind of obsessed with, Raphael, which now makes my heart hurt for many reasons I'm not going to spoil here in case you've not finished Mortal Instruments. But it hurts. Without giving details. And I don't know. There's a lot of characters in here that like, I get why you're supposed to read this of TID. So I'd say it's probably after book 5 of TMI. I'm not anywhere where any of that stuff plays out. Like we are going through right now, I'm reading the one, which is The Last Day of New York Institute, which is all about Valentine. I'm not really enjoying it as much. Because I'm like just over Valentine's been gone for a while now in my life, so yeah. Either way, with What to Buy, it's really, really short, but it's really cute. It's Alex's 18th birthday, and Magnus is freaking out what to buy. He calls all these people that he knows. We have a brief appearance of Izzy, and it's hilarious. It was a great one. Hi guys, this is the last update for the Magnus Bane Chronicles. I do want to forewarn that there is spoilers for the events that happen in City of Lost Souls. So if you've not read City of Lost Souls, or you've not read up the City of Lost Souls, I would just click away. Okay, so the first one we're going to start with, The Last Day of New York Institute. I do want to mention here that What to Buy Shadowhunter Who Has Everything and You're Not Officially Dating should go after, and I don't know if this was a misprint reason, or if they printed them in chronological order that the novellas came out in. I'm not entirely sure what the point of this was, because The Last Day of New York Institute takes us back to the time before he even knew Alec existed. So we had jumped from Alec to Valentine trying to kill people. Before Valentine tried to kill people again. That's why. The most important part, and I would say the better part, is the last, 10 pages of this. The actual thing was pretty bad. I think I ended up getting this one a 3 out of 5 stars just because of the ending. The ending follows Clary's mother, Jocelyn, showing up at the door, and Tessa and Magnus erase the mind of Clary and things. So, that's that. The Course of True Love and First Dates, and that's the next story, was a 5 out of 5. This follows Magnus and Alec's first date, their very specific first date, and how they gotten. It was just so cute. It was also really awkward, which I really enjoyed. They both were really awkward. For instance, Alec was late, which was very interesting. And then also Magnus wasn't really sure if he wanted to go on it. And also Magnus the whole time was like, is he enjoying this? Does he like this? Am I doing the right thing? And then Magnus made hiccups by bringing him to an all-demon bar, which was great. And Alec was like, it's fine, it's fine. And then they go and save a werewolf. And Alec didn't try to kill it or anything. He just calmed it down. And yeah, it was very cute. It was very, very fun. It was also short, but it was nice. I highly recommend it. I'll go through my list of the ones if you would pick up the binded collection, but you don't want to read the whole thing. I'd go through the ones I would recommend you do read at the end. And then we have the voicemails of Magnus Bane, which is the last one, which follows the events after City of Lost Souls, and this is talked about in City of Heavenly Fire, which is why I think people recommend you read it after you read City of Lost Souls, as I'm pretty sure this is what came out after it. But, and these are the voicemails that Alex's friends leave Magnus after Magnus breaks up with him for wanting him, for reasons, I guess, in City of Lost. No, it's fine. For him wanting Magnus to be mortal so they can die together, basically, is the thing. Yeah. Nope. That's the other one. I started another one. So, and I gave it, I want to say a 4 out of 5 stars, I want to say. Something like that. I don't know. There really is no point to it, and it was a little too long in my liking. But, I also very much enjoy the relationship, and so I thought it was fine. The ones I would recommend you read, in case you're wanting to pick it up, is Vampire Scones and Edmund Herondale, which is story number 3. The Midnight Hare, which is story number 4. Saving Raphael Santiago, which is story number 5. What to Buy a Shadowhunter Who Has Everything and Who You're Not Officially Dating Anyway, story number 7. The Course of True Love, story number 9. And then the Voicemails Magnus Bane, story number 10. I also would like to mention The Last Day of New York Institute is a fine read. If you're curious about some historical stuff, I think that's a good one to go to. But I would recommend the last 6 or 7 pages of it. And that is story number 7. No, 8. It's story number 8. The other ones, such as The Rise of the Hotel Drummond, The Fall of Hotel Drummond, or I think even The Runaway Queen. Those ones partake with Camilla, who I don't enjoy a lot in things, and so I personally really don't care. There's a lot of characters in here that died throughout the series that now I'm really sad that died, because they're such cool characters, and it just really does show you how horrible utilized they are throughout the actual span of the books. But it does make me want to go back and reread the entire Mortal Instruments because of how interesting the characters are. I'm not sure. There's a friend he has that I can't remember who died. By the way, the Bane Chronicles got a 5 out of 5 stars for me. Or a 4 out of 5 stars. It's really not a 5 out. Don't listen to me. It's a 4 out of 5 stars. There's a lot of stories in here that I gave 1 or 2 stars. There's 10, and I would say majority got between a 3 and a 4, which is why I gave it a 4. And yeah, I highly recommend if you want to continue your lore into the thing. But I do have to say, so far at least. I'm not sure how it will reflect later on, even though this is mostly talking about history before the events of the Dark Artifice or anything like that. That I personally really don't think it's necessary for you to go and try to find in case you want to know more history about Magnus Bane. But that brings us to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, please give me a big fat thumbs up. Don't comment down below. Hit subscribe and I'll see you on next time for another beautiful video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.